The bomb lay in front of me, wires tangled like veins, time dripping away second by second. Then the phone vibrated in my ear, my mentor's voice, cold, direct. The terrorists who built this, they have your son. They're broadcasting his execution live in 2 days. I froze. My hands hovered over the wires. He didn't pause. We've located their cell. All 30 are in one building. Make sure none of them leave alive. We'll deal with the fallout later. The line went dead. I stared at the device beneath my hands. One wrong move and Paris became ash. But his words cut deeper than any detonation. My son. 2 days. 30 men. And a command that sounded less like an order and more like a verdict. When I got back to the safe house, the silence pressed heavy. I replayed the call, dissecting it. Why hadn't he led with intel on the bomb? Why had he led with my son? Mossad trained me to hear what isn't said, to measure hesitation, tone, word choice. His voice didn't crack, not when mentioning terrorists, not when mentioning execution. It cracked slightly only once, on the word your. That tremor lived in me like poison. I wanted to believe it was real, that my mentor had risked exposure to warn me. But a darker thought settled in. What if this wasn't about terrorists? What if it wasn't about my son at all? Betrayal doesn't always arrive with blood. Sometimes it arrives with a whisper, calculated and quiet, designed to move you like a pawn. I remembered missions where he lied to me for leverage. Small lies, strategic, necessary, he called them. But if he could bend truth before, why not now? The thought I hated most, what if the hand holding the knife had always been his? I didn't confront him. I listened. Quietly, I traced the call, not to a Mossad hub, to a private line, buried in layers of rerouting. Too deliberate. I checked my son's school records. He hadn't been there in days. A trip, they said, organized by his mother. Strange I hadn't been told. Stranger still, she hadn't answered my last 3 calls. I scoured intercepted chatter from the supposed terrorist cell. They planned operations, yes, but nothing about hostages, nothing about executions. The silence there was too clean, too neat, like someone had scrubbed the record to create a phantom narrative. My rage didn't explode, it condensed. Each discovery added weight, pressure, precision. He wanted me to storm that building, to erase 30 men, to carry a massacre under the banner of fatherhood. But whose son was really at stake? Mine or his lie? The truth arrived not in fire, but in a folder. An analyst I trusted slipped me data, DNA, paternity cross-checks, classified personnel records. One sheet stopped me cold. My son wasn't mine. He was my mentor's. Every silence, every withheld smile, every private meeting between them suddenly made sense. His training trips with the boy, his insistence on being called uncle. The betrayal was complete. My marriage had been the cover, my loyalty the leash. I sat in the dark, staring at the papers, the fury inside me perfectly still. That night I called him. Just one line. I know. The pause on the other end told me everything. I walked into the briefing room the next day. He was waiting, files spread across the table, plans for the assault. I slid the DNA report across to him. He didn't reach for it. His eyes flickered down, then back up. For the first time, he looked small. "You've misunderstood," he whispered. I leaned forward, calm, controlled, deadly precise. "No," I said, "I've understood everything." He tried to speak, but his throat betrayed him. No words, only air. I left the folder there. His secret stripped naked. His career, his legacy, his life, all poisoned by the truth he thought he buried. And I didn't shout, I didn't strike. The silence itself was the execution. I never touched the building full of terrorists. That was his war, not mine. My war ended the moment I saw the papers. My son would grow up. He'd learn one day who his father truly was. Not the man who raised him, not the man who betrayed me. But I wouldn't be there to explain. That was my revenge. Absence sharper than any blade. I walked away from Mossad, from him, from the lie I'd called a family. No anger, no grief, only clarity. Betrayal doesn't need blood, it only needs truth. And truth, once revealed, is its own weapon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.